Hello, Jan Roberts here from Key Leadership Institute, and here we are with another video for another value. And today we're going to talk about the value of resolving conflict. Now, people sometimes think there might not be a value in it, but every kind of value is valuable if we know how to use them and if we know how to understand them. And that's why all these values are here, so we can improve ourselves on them. And every day is a room for improvement, whether it's personal development in any way. But values, of course, are the values-based leadership process where all these values are. My wife and myself have renamed this sustainable personal development. And personal development is an everyday thing, not a one-day thing. So if we can build on that solid foundation of values that we all need in life and business, then we need to understand them as well. And resolving conflict is a big one, because whenever you are in conflict with someone, there is one factor that can make the difference between damaging your relationship and deepening it. And that factor is attitude. That's by a guy called William James. That was a quote. Now, I've already talked about attitude as well. And, I really like that value as well, because it speaks so much to them. We all can choose to have a positive attitude, but I don't want to go into that, because today we're on the value of resolving conflict. See, there are those who think that life should be completely without conflict, but behind every remarkable man or woman, there are stories of great conflict. And often conflict arises as our ideas clash with other people's ideas and opinions. And now, get this. It is other people's ideas and opinions. We're not talking about which one is truth and which one is not. I'm also going to do a value very shortly about confrontation, which has got a lot to do with this, of course. And as I'm saying, all these values are interacting with each other, but it is other people's opinions and ideas. Now, this has also got a lot to do with, trying to understand before being understood by the late Stephen Covey. In these kind of values, there is a lot, the value of understanding people, which is coming as well, has also got to do with this, of course. And we need to be strong in this. And we need to realize that, especially in these days when people are fighting with their best friends. People say, I've split up with my best friends because we can't get on, we don't agree. Well, if you're best friends, that you would never split up, because best friends understand that we don't always agree. And I can talk about this because I'm privileged and honored to have a handful of best friends, lifelong friends. And I'm proud of that. And we nurture those friendships. But yes, we don't always get on. We don't always think the same about everything. And sometimes we have discussions, but we don't have arguments, because the difference between a discussion and an argument is motive. And if your motive is that you want to be right, you will have conflict and you will have arguments and you'll have confrontation, and bad confrontation. But if you just want to listen to others and take it on board, and at the end say, okay, we're not going to agree at this, that's fine. But at least we know what you think and you know what I think. And hey, we've learned something about each other, and that's what it is. But we can't keep fighting with each other. We need to understand each other. We need to listen to each other, and we need to have some patience and compassion. The last value was compassion, and I talked about this too. But the gift of reasoning enables us to make the choices to grow and overcome conflict. So it is the gift of reasoning. See, and that means that we need to set these other things, our need to be right, set that straight away, because when you need to be right, as I said, that is the motive, and then you get arguments. But just the need to understand is much more powerful. And you make many more friends with that. And you don't have to like everything that everybody says, but we don't have to join every battle that we come across, and we don't have to degrade ourselves to what other people might do to us, like name calling and things like that. We need to rise above that. We need to have respect for ourselves first, as in the value of respect, and we need to respect others, regardless what they do to us. We can't control them, but we can control what we do. There's a famous African saying, and it says, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm. Now, then you need to really build yourself up every single day to keep that enemies out of here and out of here. And that's where we need values. So I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you get something out of each and every one of these values, and you want to become more involved in this as well, so you learn more about these things, and also spread this so we're all on the same page, that we can actually open this book and say, yeah, we understand where you come from. We now know what you see as integrity and what I see as integrity. It was not the same before, but now we understand this. So now we understand each other, where we're coming from. That power to understand others first, that power to be interested before you ever going to be interesting, is also has got a lot to do with the fact that we can resolve conflict much more easily. See, we can choose to let conflict polish our character, or we can allow them to make us angry at life. And I know you also know people who are angry at everything and everybody, and it's everybody else's fault, because most of these angry people, they do blamestorming. And this is, they blame everything from the cat and the dog to your spouse, your children, your boss, your friends, your community, the world, everything. The only person who can help you to get over this, the only person who can really calm you down from the inside, is the person looking in the mirror every day. That's why I also did a whole series about self-care, because I want you to all, including myself, to take better care of ourselves. We're no good to anybody if we're going to be ill or dead, for that matter. And resolving conflict is also so powerful that we can actually move into that and do it with grace. Now, again, by now, there is going to be two benefits of resolving conflict, two characteristics of a person who is good at resolving conflict, and two steps to follow to become better at resolving conflict. Now, there is many more, of course. There is usually somewhere between 4 and 6 of them each when we go through the value for about half an hour, 45 minutes a week, one value a week. But I'll give you an idea, and at least it gives you some steps to follow to start making these improvements today. So the benefits of being able to resolve conflict is that you will discover your own strengths and weaknesses. Dealing with conflict requires creativity, reason, and discernment in order to overcome and resolve the issue. That's a lot. And we learn a lot about ourselves. I mean, I always think that know thyself is very important. And that's why I'm also, another thing I do is I'm a behavior analysis consultant and trainer, because I think it's so important that we get to know ourselves first. And then the better we get to know ourselves, the better we can deal with other people. So you can't give what you haven't got. And this really speaks about discovering your own strengths and areas of improvement. They call it weaknesses, but I call them areas of improvement, because that's really what they are. Should you decide to, of course. But you will grow and progress as a person and become a problem solver rather than someone who is contributing to the problem. Now, that's something else I talk about. It says, if you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. And as somebody who learns to resolve conflicts, that's one of the benefits, that you become part of the solution. I always say to people, you can complain whatever you want, but complain about something, but also don't just do that. What solution do you bring to the table? And if it might not be the right solution, but if you bring something of value to the table when you talk about a problem, that's when you really actively get engaged. And the same with resolving conflict. So, and then there is two characteristics that we'll talk about here of a person who's good at resolving conflict. And these people approach the problem from a place of humility and desire to hear and understand the other side of the story and other person's viewpoint. Most important. Again, Stephen, do you hear the Stephen Covey quote in your background here when you listen to this? And then the second one is, these people express opinions in an open manner and give reasons and logic for their points of view. So yes, resolving conflict, that doesn't mean that you have to let people walk over you. These people who are good at it, they express their opinions in an open manner. And that means open manner, that it's not about being right. It's about learning to live together and learning to understand each other. Then there is 2 points. I'm going to give you 2 steps that you can follow and implement today, so you can get better at resolving conflict. And the first one is, be committed to humility. Now, regardless of if you are right or wrong, that's not the point. Humility is a becoming trait. See, it keeps you from alienating yourself from others and ensuring you approach others with the right attitude. See, there's the value of attitude again as well. But that's what we need to do. we need to come from an open kind of view. So be committed to humility. And then the second one is be a good listener. Now, it is vital to understand the other person's perspective. Helping the other person to feel heard and understood can go a long way to resolving the conflict. Just to understand them. It's not, do not listen to answer. Listen to understand. So the power of listening, I think that was the second value where I talked into the value of listening, but everything has to do with listening. And so is resolving conflict. But there's 2 steps here. And my question again, as you know already, it's coming. What will you do today? And if it's late today for you, what will you do today or tomorrow? I'll give you a chance to get better at resolving conflict. Maybe it's somebody you need to listen to better, where there might be some areas of friction. It's, conflict doesn't have to be all-out war. It's just that the disagreements, that's what it normally starts with. And then how we act or react to this, that's when we start getting confrontation and conflict. So it is very important that we learn to listen very clearly. As coaches, we learn this a lot. The only way we can ask good questions if we learn and if we listen intently and we are in the present. That means no mobile phones around, no nothing. Just listen to the person, try to understand them so we can ask better questions, maybe even deeper delving questions so we can understand them even better. And then we can have a beautiful discussion, but not have this in your head. I don't care what he's saying, but I'm coming out with, he won't like it, but I'm going to tell him anyway. No. Humility and listening, 2 great steps you can follow. So get pen and paper. I haven't got pen here, but get pen and paper, write down what you're going to do tonight or tomorrow. And it's a SMART goal, like who, what, when, where, how. So who are you going to practice this with? When are you going to practice this? Where and how? So when you write that specifically, because if you can measure it, you can manage it. And all these things, when you start doing them, you start lifting up. And I can guarantee you, when you get actively involved in this process and stay with the process, this will impact your life in the most positive manner. And not only you will notice, but the people around you will notice too. And that's what Be the Change is all about. When you improve yourself, everything around you will improve. And the people will love to be around you much more. So I hope you take some action steps. I hope you got something out of this value of resolving conflict. And I will come back with another value very soon. Take care.